It's no secret that Halloween 3 Season of the Witch was raked over the coals upon its release, because it made the massive mistake of titling itself Halloween but not putting Michael Myers in it. Now, 40 years later, it's a fan favorite in the franchise. But today, I'm here to tell you guys I think it made a mistake, and it's not the one y'all are thinking. Hey, what is up everybody? Nick here, and today I want to talk to you guys about Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. But more specifically, I want to talk to you guys about a mistake I think this movie made. And what's frustrating is, it is a very easily fixable mistake as well. Now, when I say Halloween 3 and mistake in the same sentence, I'm sure a handful of you guys are going, well yeah, it's a Halloween movie, but it doesn't have Michael Myers. That's the mistake. It should have just been titled Season of the Witch. I agree with you. In 1982, it probably should have just been titled Season of the Witch. I kind of love that it's Halloween 3 now. But I'm just going to tell you guys, that's not what I'm referencing here. Now, of course, that is the most commonly referenced issue with Halloween 3. Even the people that like it nowadays or accept it will still say that's the one mistake they made. But in looking at the franchise with hindsight, decades later, knowing that Michael Myers came back in Halloween 4, we got the Thorn trilogy of movies. Then they rebooted it again and made a sequel to the first two with H2O, and we got then the Rob Zombie movies, and then Blumhouse rebooted it and made a sequel to the original. Taking all of that into consideration, I think the biggest mistake for me, and the thing that frustrates me personally the most with Halloween 3 is, they didn't keep it canon. They didn't keep it in continuity. It's not in the same universe. However you want to put it, that's my biggest issue. Now, before anybody tries to give me a history lesson in the comments section, believe me, I know the pre-production history with this movie. I know that John Carpenter and Deborah Hill wanted to branch out. They wanted to wash themselves clean of anything to do with Michael Myers and the Halloween franchise, at least as it was at the time. They wanted to build off of the name and off of the brand, but they wanted to do new things with it. They thought it would be an exciting opportunity to continue to make horror stories that had nothing to do with Haddonfield or Michael Myers, and maybe it could be something that every year they come out with a new movie. Now, from the standpoint of a creator, I understand the impulse to want to do that. You don't want to get bogged down doing the same thing over and over and over again, because eventually you're just up against a wall. You don't know what to do with one character anymore. I mean, John Carpenter found himself in that position with Halloween 2, and that was only the first sequel. So this, I don't think, was a bad impulse. But then Halloween 3 does something that is insanely frustrating, and has frustrated me for years. They put the original Halloween on a commercial, and then later in the movie, it's shown as a movie on network television. Now, I understand that choice. Oh, it's a nice wink and nod to the fans and a recognition by us that, hey, yeah, Halloween, right? But funny enough, it's probably the biggest issue I have with this movie. Now, I love this movie, so it's a minor nitpick, but it's still something that gets under my skin. Because I think you could easily say that this took place in the same universe as Halloween. You didn't have to call Halloween out as just a movie. Because this is Santa Mira, California. This is not Haddonfield, Illinois. It would make complete sense for them to not even reference the first two movies at all, rather than writing them out of continuity intentionally. Look, it would not be at all surprising that nearly a half-decade later, across the country, people aren't talking about a guy that killed babysitters in 1978. Like, for that to not be a part of this movie is totally fine. But when you make the conscious decision to say, no, none of that was real, this is the new universe that we're in, I just don't really get that. Because I think some anthologies that work the best are the ones that are in universe. I look at Trick or Treat. Those are all separate stories, but they are happening on the same night. They're more interconnected than a lot of anthology movies, but most of the best anthology movies call out to the viewer that all of these things happened in close proximity to each other, or in the same universe, or the same state, or the same year, whatever it may be. So for Halloween 3, wanting to be the first of an anthology, completely writing that out as just a movie, well, that kind of defeats the point of an anthology from the very beginning, doesn't it? In my opinion, I mean, maybe not technically by a textbook definition, but for me, I'm like, well, that's not most anthologies I see. Now, I understand that some people's counterpoint to this argument will be, okay, but in 1988, when Halloween came back with Michael Myers, what happened in Santa Mira? You know, that was a giant toy factory, a giant company that was trying to kill literally all of the children in America. You couldn't just act like that didn't exist, right? No, you couldn't. Look, I'm not the writer, so that's not something that I would need to give the answers for. But if I would have been, and that was in universe, well, you could say it was a failure. That's pretty simple, right? Connell Cochran killed a decent amount of people, but it didn't take like he thought it would because most of the commercials got shut off in time. Or you could do the other thing I mentioned, where you just don't call it out explicitly one way or the other. Sometimes that's the best route to take. You don't say that it happened and this is, oh man, this is building off of that in some way, or not building off of it at all and it's just in the same universe. Or you just don't say anything. You don't explicitly say, this didn't happen. This wasn't real. You let people create their own headcanon. You let them fill in the gaps if they choose to. A lot of people have suspension of disbelief and they can really just kind of accept certain things or they'll choose not to, but either way, that's up for the viewer to decide. The issue, though, is when you blatantly call out that something was not real or did not happen, you erase that potential. And I think one of the greatest things about cinema, especially in long-running franchises, is we envision certain things. We create narratives and timelines that were not shown on screen. I remember doing that as a teenager with the Halloween movies. Well, what happened between H2O and Resurrection? Well, I would imagine this probably happened in this. It's just kind of something we do. So for me personally, the biggest issue I have with Halloween 3, and I can't believe I didn't mention this in my How to Fix video, but it came to me the other day and I was like, wow, why did I not talk about this? So I wanted to dedicate a whole video to it, is that they explicitly call out that Halloween and Halloween 2 aren't real and they're just a movie. And I just don't like that. It bothers me. Now, it is a nice end joke, and a lot of people will say, oh, well, technically Michael Myers is in Halloween 3. Yeah, okay, we get the joke at this point, but like, it would have just been better to not acknowledge it one way or the other. Because for me personally, as a person with OCD, as someone that's a completionist, I want to be able to say my favorite timeline of the Halloween movies is 1 through 6. And I do still say that, and Christian says that as well. We just talked about this on the podcast the other night. But you'll get people that'll be like, well, 3's not included in that timeline. Okay, semantics, buddy. Like, I get it, but like, it'd be nice if that wasn't an argument. It would be nice if that was not a counterpoint that somebody could throw out. It would be nice if we could just go, well, technically it's in the same universe. But the filmmakers decided we're going to explicitly call out that it's not. And it just bugs me. You know, in a world full of people that probably have a basket full of complaints with Halloween 3, you probably did not expect this to be the one that I was talking about tonight. But alas, I am. Now, again, I love this movie. It's one of my favorites in the franchise. I've loved it since the first time I laid eyes on the thing. But I understand people's issues with it, and I wonder if anybody agrees with me here. Like, I get it, total minor nitpick, but like, kind of bothers you, doesn't it? Like, is anybody else with me, or is this totally insane? I don't know. Whatever your thoughts on this topic are, let me know. Do you think this was a mistake for Halloween 3, or do you not care? Does it bother you that you can't technically say that 1 through 6 is one timeline, or do you not care? Whatever it is, answer those questions for me down below in the comments section. I want to thank you guys so much for watching the video. Make sure to leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This is Nick at the Lost River Drive-In, and I'm pulling out.